Well, welcome back to the channel. It's Richard here, and this is, I suppose this was episode 2, if that's, of New Arrivals. Yes, what are you looking at? A bit strange, this one. And this looks like a flight case, one of those things you keep your tools in. But it's not, it's something slightly different to that. So let's have a look, shall we? Let's open up the catches. Open up. So what have we got in here? It's a record player. Let's have a closer look. There we go. Let me just raise this up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Let's come back here a bit. So this is a one of those very similar to the one that I reviewed last time. This one also was going fairly cheaply because it was completely, well, it just wasn't working, and there's still some work to do, but I thought I'd talk to you about this. This is by GPO. Now, I've never seen a record player inside a flight case. Now, I know that DJs put their decks in this type of aluminium cases. I've seen those on, they take them around the country, but when they're doing gigs and that, but obviously this type of arrangement I've never seen before. When I saw it on eBay, it was going for spares or repair. It had no power unit, and I thought, looks interesting. When it arrived, it was in a worse state than, well, as worse state than looking now, but worse state than I expected. And I've had to do some work to get it to a basic standard, but there is some more work to do. And I thought I'd explore with you in this series of videos as well. Now, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for subscribing to the last video that I did on this series with the other little Bush record player. I had lots of people actually viewing that. Clearly catches the imagination, and there were 7 new subscribers, so I'd like to say thank you to those. And this will be just as interesting for you as the last one, in taking into account that this is a fairly cheap construction, as they always are, but it's actually quite nice. This one actually is quite nice, and I'll explain that. Also, don't forget to go to my other video I uploaded when I spent the weekend with Outdoor Lads at the Brownsea Island off Poole Harbour, which was an amazing weekend. And if you haven't viewed that video, please go and have a look at it. It's very relaxing. I came back so relaxed, it took me ages to get my brain back to work mode and to get things going. It was a lovely weekend. I went from the Friday to the Monday. You get to Brownsea by ferry, which takes about 30 minutes, and I spent the weekend with some really nice people. Some of you I knew, some I didn't, and we did lots of walking around the island, which isn't, might think, well, it's only 6 miles across and 2 miles wide, but in fact there's quite a lot to see. It's a beautiful bird sanctuary, and if you're into birds at all, ornithology, it's a paradise. It really is. And the National Trust who run it really looked after us. They even took the in the video I talk about my little trolley that I took because it was a mile to South Lodge, but in fact they said they took the luggage over there for us, so I didn't have to worry too much. But it was but anyway, I'm diversifying. Yes, good. So back to GPO. Now, obviously GPO is not the General Post Office that we used to have before British Telecom came along, and if you're not in this country you won't understand what that means, but the General Post Office was the people that started telephones in this country many years ago, last century, and then they were taken over and called British Telecom. So I'm not sure. I think this is a make-up, obviously, but I do find the GPO stuff is of slightly higher quality, and that's why I thought it was worth investing here. So what you're looking at, let me just what I'll do, I'll stop the camera and just turn it round a bit so you can see things in a better way. Hang on a second. So, as you can see, you've got the usual arrangements with turntable, 45 adapter, the arm, which was completely, I'll explain later, but it wasn't where it is now. And then you've got some controls here. So we've got power, bass, treble and pitch. And you're right, we have treble and bass on this one. And then we have some small speakers in the front there, which I will, when I take the top off, you'll see. And there's also something else as well, which is quite unique to this as well, which when I take it apart, you'll see this is quite a unique machine in that respect too. There's some controls on the side here, so you can actually, there's a slot type cassette deck in the side, which I haven't used, and I've tried to put a cassette in there and it doesn't want to go in, so I'm not going to bother with that anyway. There's those cheap slot types which normally eat your tapes anyway. There's also USB, so you can play back and record from this machine, which we'll experiment doing that at some point. And then there's a little list of things when it's different things are working. So, and there was no power unit with this, so I have invested in a power unit, which is this one. So this power unit here, which has a green light on, and I'll explain why that's on shortly. We need to do some work on that as well. So I thought the first thing we'd do is just play some records on it, and then you can tell me what you think of the sound quality. So I'm going to plug this in. Now my microphone, my Rode microphone is run down, so hopefully the microphone in the iPhone will capture this well enough. So I'm going to play this just on its own before I play it through the Fat Rat. So I've got a very nice Ella Fitzgerald record here. Here we go. Ella Fitzgerald sings Irving Berlin, and I've got Heatwave, which is one of my favourite tracks of hers. And then we'll try this. So this is a 45. So we need to put this onto 45. There we go. And then I'll explain what I've had to do to get this machine this far, basically. So here we go. So it's Heatwave with Ella Fitzgerald.
Temperature's rising, it isn't surprising, she certainly can. Started the heat wave by letting her seat wave, and in such a way that the customers say that she certainly can. She, her anatomy made the mercury jump to 93. Yes, sir, we're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave. The way that she moves, that thermometer proves that she certainly can.
There we go, Heatwave with Ella Fitzgerald. So I'll just put that bit back there. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll have some more records later on. So what did you think of the sound? I actually think it's quite good as a portable machine. You've got these two speakers here. You've also got a bass response unit in the middle, and when we take the top off you'll see how that is. It's not just a couple of very small tinny speakers put in the front panel, which is actually quite well disguised, I think. And it's a quite nice case. It's got where are we? It's a proper steel sort of aluminium construction with nice edges, these nice latches on the front. There we go. And you can actually carry it around, which is what I found quite attractive, and I thought it might be worth saving, you know. I thought it's not just a cheap case. So it must have been quite expensive. I've not seen another one of these on eBay at all. I've looked and I can't find anything. It's got a nice case that's got a nice stay here. When it arrived, the arm was totally out. It was on, just flying around inside the case, and also there was lots of broken bits. So there was plenty of broken parts, this bit and the stay, the bit that you can lower up and lower, that was completely shattered. And then also the small arm stay was here. So what I've done is I've done some surgery on it. Let's put that over there. I've done some surgery on it, and I've used let's get me, if you remember this machine, one that I started all this with, I've actually butchered this a bit, and so what I did, I'll show you this inside actually when we get that far, but I chopped off the post from the old one, because the post that would normally go here, the post on this one was completely broken. So I don't know whatever happened to that, but what I did, I then stuck it to the bottom underneath, and then you have got an arm that actually will go across the record. The bits that turn off the record player are missing, totally missing. I don't know where they've gone, whether it was a manufacturing issue, I don't know. So I've just used bits from another old machine and put them on here. So what we'll do now is I will, oh yes, the other thing is the stay, this stay here, what I did, I chopped it off the one I've just shown you, let's find that there, and then filed it down, and then found a place to put it where it works very well. And of course it does actually work quite well. It won't make the arm move now. And so basically the old machine has helped save this one totally. So yes, so what I'll do now is we'll open the box and I'll show you some of the bits inside. So just bear with me a second. So there we are, I've taken the screws out. The other thing we'll do, we'll check the speed, and we'll check the weight of the downward pressure on the stylus here to see what that is. Normally they're a bit heavy. They're normally weighing in about 5 and sometimes 5.5. But the other thing about this machine is that, and I'll explain a bit when we've got the box open, I'm just going to lift it up in a second. It developed a squeak about the sort of a few days after I started playing around with it, and I haven't actually oiled anything, but I think it needs some oil. As I say, my microphone Rode is actually charging up in the house, so I hope you can hear me okay. So right, we'll take this off then and have a look underneath. So right, let me just bring you a bit nearer the box. There we are. Right, so if I just use my screwdriver as a pointer. So the cassette deck is here, this part here with a small motor and a belt. It's a belt driven, I think it's a belt driven, yeah, the belt's there. As I say, I can't get a cassette to set this off. I don't know what's going on. I don't think there's something missing here. Whenever I put a tape in there, it just doesn't trigger it to activate. and I'm not particularly worried about that. You can see the head here. They're normally quite rough playing anyway. There's a one direction only machine, so there is a button here you push, but for some reason it doesn't seem to want to engage, and I'm certainly not going to go any further with that, so I'm not too worried. The motor is a single port motor. You've got a plus and minus on there as well. The back end, we're looking at the back end, so you've got the bottom of the Kaneguchi record deck. You've got a belt here. The belt seems in quite good condition. Yeah, it does. So you've got the usual low and high, which if you remember from the last record player, so low is 33, high is 45, and then the small one here, that's 78, and we'll check the speed shortly. You've then got a load of wiring loom here, all up to the various ports. You can see, I think you can see that. Let me just raise that a bit for you. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Yeah, so, and you've got a pitch on this one. So we've got a little bit of pitch. That's the on-off switch. You've then got, I think it's treble and bass and pitch there. I think that's correct. Yes, that's right, yeah. So this is the power switch here. And then this board here is for all the various things with the USB. And then there's a USB port here. I think that's USB. Yes, it is. And then this one is just the lighting arrangement to let you know what's actually happening at the time. And then the bit that's this bit that's flapping about in the breeze, this would have been for the switch off. So you can then switch off with this, the auto turn off, which is not being used. And I'm going to take that out. There's no reason to have that there. It just turns the machine off when it gets to the end of the play, and it's obviously got bits missing. Probably some of the stuff that was from here. Now what I did, the post I'm talking about, the bit I've changed from the other machine is here. I stuck that with some Boss stick, or super glue I think it was, in here, rubbed it all down, and it actually sits inside a little, I think it's a brass tube actually, which helps. And I put some grease in there. I put some of that, what's it called, grease, let me just get on that and show you. It's called silicone grease, here we go. I put some silicone grease in there, and that seems to be enough tension to keep the thing working. Good. So all in all, that's fine. Now the thing that I was the mystery thing that I was interested in is actually over here. I suddenly realised when I opened the box that we have got a backup battery. It's an 18.5 kilowatt. I think it's a watt hour on there. And it says there's a date on there, so it dates this machine 2017, so it's not that old. It's 3.7 volts, that is, so that's the backup. And that actually works quite well because it charges up. Let me just put you back again. It charges up when the machine is on, or if it's not using electricity from its backup battery, then uses the mains. But the other interesting thing is, you might have noticed that there is actually a green light on the power unit that I purchased from eBay. It's actually running on 7.5 volts, which is not correct because it's actually a 9-volt machine, which when it runs on 9 volts, it's fast. Everything goes fast, which means it's not properly rated. So either the power unit is not properly rated, or the actual unit itself is not properly weighted. So when I put it onto 9 volts, it just sounded like everything sounded like the Chipmunks, and you couldn't slow it down. So I've left it. So I've left it where it is, and that seems to be quite good. And we'll check the speed in a second. So okay, so the mics have now charged up, so you're back on the microphone, Rode microphone, with slightly better sound, hopefully. I haven't checked, but hopefully everything's all right. So yeah, so there's some quite interesting bits that go with this, really. The other thing is the speakers, as I mentioned. Let me just show you where they are, because in this front part here, there we go, you can see you've got 2 speakers on there. Well, there's one here and one here. Then you've got like a buffle bit at the back. I don't know if you can see that. See that? Yeah, which acts as a bass response, and then that comes out the front. So I actually can't see that very well. So it's got a bit of a speaker box in there, which I think sort of helps really. And then obviously you've got the circuitry on here to all the bits and pieces. The only thing I had to do was purchase this power unit because it has a special end to it. Let me just show you the type of end. Okay, so it has this type of end on it. So what I did when I bought it, probably focus that. When I bought it, I got a box, this one here, universal adapter on eBay, 30 watts, 12 volts. This is a 12 volt one, and then you get a whole host of. That's the box it came in. You get a host of little adapter thingies. Where are we? There we go. In shot. There we are. So that'd be useful, I'll keep those. And then they fit into the end of the unit. And then you even get a tool to remove them with, which is, I think this costs more than the actual item itself. So that was about 10 quid, I think it was. Yeah, £10. And all very nice in a box there. But as I say, I've got this set on 7.5 volts, and in fact it's supposed to be a 9 volt, so there's some variation, and then this light comes on. So but in fact when I checked on the voltmeter, there's no power from these fins, from the contacts, so it must be something else that's going on inside the box from this unit here. So my intention is going to be that I will do a couple of things. I'm going to put a small switch, and what I've done is I've actually purchased some mini switches on eBay, and these literally were so cheap, I could not believe it was £3 for 5. So these little mini switches here, and I'll show you where I'm going to put those. I'm going to put one here so that the power unit is switched off, so that it's not, so when I turn off the mains it's not going to run the battery flat. And then the other one I'm going to put is actually here for between the on-off and the on-off switch here and the pentameter for the volume, because otherwise it'll wear that out as well. So I'm going to put another one of these. So that's those red wires here, and I'm going to put it probably if I just close the lid slightly. I'm probably going to put it probably about one here, and probably one back here. I think that will work. I think it will. Let me just. Yeah, it's quite a thick board. This. That's the only thing about it. So one here. Yeah, it dips down a bit here, doesn't it? This fiberboard stuff. I might be able to put one there. Yeah, probably one here. One here, yeah. Next to the phone out socket. And then probably one maybe just back here past the pitch control. Yes, because it'd be quite, otherwise I think these won't be they won't be long enough to go through there otherwise, but they might be otherwise. So I'll have to play with that, and I'll take you along when I do that, so we'll do that. So yes, and then I'll remove this strange thing here that was for the on-off. I think we might do that now. Let me just get a small screwdriver. Let's just do that. Can he says. Might go for forceps there. I think it's quite safe. As I say, I have been playing with this over the last few days. Doesn't want to come might damage it more actually. It might come off this end actually. There we go. Probably easy to take it off. Take this bit off here. It has no serviceable use actually. To do with the switching anyway. So I think that's probably better leave that there. And I'll just tuck that down here. This PC board here has got some transistors on it. Let me just have a look. Yeah, a few capacitors on there. Integrated. There's small transistors here. And they're so tiny you can hardly see anything on there. There's certainly nothing repairable, I would have thought. But yeah, it works. So that's the main thing. So yeah, so that's what the inside looks like. It's quite well constructed. I was quite pleased with everything. It seems to be glued together quite well, considering it's made in China and all the rest of it. But I thought perhaps we could just play another record. Let's just check the speed on this, and I'll then put it all back together. And we'll do some more work. So let's just try another record on here. Let's just check the speed. You probably won't see this, but if I I've got a squeak now. I think I might need to give this some oil. Okay. This clearly doesn't like being touched, I don't think. That's the speakers making that noise. Whether that is a... Okay, that's a different one. Let me just put this bit back. I don't think that had anything to do with that. No. Okay, it's on the battery now. Okay, right, well, let's try another record. I'm going to try an Ann Shelton one and see how we get on. It seems to have got a bit of a mind of its own. This one is a 78. This is Ann Shelton and a pair of silver wings, so enjoy. We'll use its own speakers again. There we go. Take that off. So, Ann Shelton, a pair of silver wings, and it's going slightly fast, so I apologise for that.
Some people say he's just a crazy guy. To me, he means a million other things. For he's the one who caused this happy heart of mine to fly. He wears a pair of silver wings. And though it's pretty tough, the job he has to do, time is home on me. He with those wings on his tunic, me with my heart on my sleeve. But when I'm left alone and we are far apart, I sometimes wonder what tomorrow brings. For I adore that crazy guy who taught my happy heart to wear a pair of silver wings.
I think it might be slightly slow, this actually. Oop. So let's just make a slight adjustment. I'll put the power back on. It's making that strange squealing sound now. It does go after a few minutes. That's a new one on me. So if I turn the power, if I turn the power off, it then starts to speed up. If I turn the power on again, it slows down to about the right speed. It's quite peculiar, this. Okay, yeah, it's very strange. That's a new one on me today. So clearly there's something going on here. Okay, let's see what this sounds like anyway.
Although some people say
That sounds
just
better.
a crazy guy, to me he means a million other things.
It's a tad fast, that is, but that sounds
For
okay
he's
to me.
the one who
I'll
taught
let you enjoy the
this
rest of
happy
this record.
heart of mine to fly. He wears a pair of silver wings. And though it's pretty tough, the job he has to do, I wouldn't have him change it for a king. An ordinary fellow in a uniform of black, he wears a pair of silver wings. I'm so full of pride when we go walking, every time he's home on me. He with those wings on his tunic, me with my heart on my sleeve. But when I'm left alone and we are far apart, I sometimes wonder what tomorrow brings. For I adore that crazy guy who taught my happy heart to wear a pair of silver But when I'm left alone and we are far apart, I sometimes wonder what tomorrow brings. For I adore that crazy guy who taught my happy heart to wear a pair of silver
and shoulder. That recorded, by the way, in 1941, so very much a wartime number. So if we just turn this off, there we go. It stopped making that noise then. So interesting enough, this side, B side, is Who Am I, which is quite nice. So if I just, the noise has stopped now. That squealing sound has stopped, which is quite interesting. So just slightly there. Whether it's something to do with the charging up, I'm not sure. So just about hear that, can't you? But as I say, it was squeaking the other day when I had it. I was out here. It sounded like some sort of bearings need a bit of oil. So I sort of gave up and thought, well, it's probably got a life of its, a bit of a mind of its own a little bit. So yeah. So anyway, we'll play that one shortly. I've got some other records here that we're going to play. So the other thing about it is it says that it can record onto a USB stick. So I brought one of those down here, and if I plug in the USB stick like so, now I've got an instruction booklet from one of these I found, and it says on here so you can record onto the USB stick. Where are we? So let's try that. Shall we try? Let's try an Ella Fitzgerald number and see whether it was record onto that, because you have to. Okay. So let's try Isn't It a Lovely Day by Ella Fitzgerald on here and see how we get on. Now what you have to do is press there's a little button here. There, you have to press, and then we do it from there. So if I switch on and put this on to 45 and then press that, I assume that's what's going to work.
The weather is frightening, the thunder and lightning seem to be having their way. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a lovely day. The turn in the weather will keep us together, so I can honestly say that as far as I'm concerned, it's a lovely day. And everything's okay. Isn't this a lovely day to be caught in the rain? You were going on your way, now you've got to remain. Just as you were going, leaving me all at sea. The clouds broke, they broke, and oh, what a break for me. I can see the sun up high, though we're caught in a storm. I can see where you and I could be cozy and warm. Let the rain pitter-patter, but it really doesn't matter if the skies are gray. Long as I can be with you, it's a lovely day. Just as you were going, leaving me all at sea. The clouds broke, they broke, and oh, what a break for me. I can see the sun up high, though we're caught in a storm. I can see where you and I could be cozy and warm. Let the rain pitter-patter, but it really doesn't matter if the skies are gray. a lovely day. Long as I can be with you, it's a lovely day. Long as I can be with you, it's a lovely day.
There we go. Okay, so we'll take that off and lock the arm back, and then what we'll do, we'll see what happens when we play it. And then push play. I think you have to. What's that one do? That one's lit up now. So I think let's play here. What does that one do? Unless I push the wrong one. Oh, okay. So now I've got the USB on. Is it going to do anything? Not sure. What I'll do, I'll just check in the house whether there's anything on that stick and then come back to you. Okay, well, if you can hear the rain, it's pouring hard outside. Let me just swing the camera and I'll show you it's literally pouring. You might not be able to see that. Literally pouring out as part of the garden. So yes, we have, and it's what is it? Yeah, just over 20 degrees. It's been up to 34 we've had in the UK. And I have to say, as I mentioned earlier, my trip to Brownsea Island, the weather was absolutely amazing there. We had rain forecast, but nothing actually happened. Right, okay, so I have checked the LG stick and there's nothing on it, so I don't think it's actually recorded. I did discover when I was doing that you need to have, let me just show you that. There's apparently when you switch it on, there's a button here that you have to press. I think it's this one. Is that one, or is it that one? First you have to have the USB in place first of all. Let's put that back. And then if I press this button here, yes, you see that the red light is on here. That says recording, but it doesn't actually do anything because so that, and then perhaps I have that one. Perhaps that is recording that. So let me just try this again. I'll keep experimenting and see what happens. I've got the pitch set because it was. Let's just try. What's the other tracks on here? The song is ended. I think this one's called. Let's try that.
The song is ended, but the melody lives on. You and the sun are gone, but the melody lingers on. The night was splendid, and the melody seemed to say, summer will pass away. Take your happiness while you may. There neath the light of the moon, we sang a love song that ended too soon. The moon descended, and I found with the break of dawn, you and the song had gone, but the melody lingers on and on and on and on. of the moon. We sang a love song that ended too soon. The moon descended, and I found with the break of dawn, you and the song had gone, but the melody lingers on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Well, let's see what that does, shall we? Let's have a look, see what that. Let's see what we can do here now. Let's just go to there and then play. Anything? That's supposed to be the play button. I don't think it's doing anything. I'll check upstairs, but I don't think it's doing anything, so I think we're on a lost cause. But there we go. That's the little bit of that this afternoon, and then I'll come back to you and we'll do some more work on the GPO record player in the flight case, and we'll play it through the Fat Rat then. And but I don't think it sounds too bad. Actually, the sounds, obviously all those squealy noises have stopped now, so that's good. Be back soon.